Hello everyone, I'm home. Welcome back to my channel. As promised, we're going to dive into the decades-old murder mystery that happened about 10 miles from where we live. I'm going to show you some pictures out of my garden, some flowers, while I tell the story about Leona Dorf. Leona Dorf was born on February 21st, 1888. She became a wife and a school teacher, but by September of 1958, she had found herself divorced, childless, and had been retired for many years. Leona was known to walk everywhere she went. She would even walk 8 miles to West Lebanon, the town that we live in. And she loved to walk the farm that her sister Mary left her that wasn't too far from her home. In September of 1958, her mailman became concerned when she wasn't waiting for her mail like she always did. When she didn't answer the door, he looked in and saw that her cats had made a mess of the house. He summoned the police, thinking that maybe she was dead or needed help, and she was gone. Her purse was gone, and they knew that she wouldn't leave her cats for very long, so the police searched her walking routes and her farm, talked to her family and friends, and no one knew where she was. In November, there were 2 men farming on a farm not too far from her home, and it was southwest of where she lived, and they were sitting on the well getting ready to draw some water to put in their tractor when they noticed a foul odor coming from the well. Thinking an animal had fallen in, they lowered a piece of barbed wire and came up with what appeared to be human hair. They thought they could make out a human form 10 feet below in the murky water, so they called the police, and the badly decomposed body of Leona was found with wire and clothesline wrapped around her. Bricks from the local brick factory were tied around the wires, and she was found tightly gripping a piece of pipe, leading them to believe that she was alive when she went into the well. She was identified by a cousin only by the clothes she was wearing, but dental records later confirmed that it was indeed Leona. A years-long investigation turned up nothing, leaving her death a mystery to this day. Last year, I was intrigued by a book that was mentioned on Facebook, and it was called Unsolved Indiana by Autumn Bones. The comments told the story of Leona and some other stories, and my husband said he'd heard that story as a child many times, but I'd never heard it. So I was telling my friend, who was 89 years old at the time, about it, and she just lit up and said, "Oh, Leona Dorf." Yes, she said, "I'm not sure if I was related to her or just knew her as a neighbor, but I used to visit with her all the time when I was young, and every Easter she gave me a card with a floral hanky inside." She said, "I still have some of those hankies around here somewhere." Well, this sent her and I on a mission. We wanted to find Leona's gravesite. We wanted to visit where she was buried out there in the well, and we found both, but a cousin of my friend said that the well that we found was not the well Leona died in. It was the well that she died in was behind the house and had long been covered over by farm ground. And the house is long gone, but there's still a barn there, and Leona's house is still there too. So my friend and I left flowers, and this is Leona. Bless her heart. This is an old picture. It seems to be the only one of her that they can find. It's not a very good picture because it's out of an old newspaper. But my friend and I, we found her grave, and we put flowers out, and we said that we always would put flowers out. And I lost my friend recently, so as long as I'm able, I'll put flowers out for Leona. But this was her house at the time of her death. It was in the newspaper. And we found her house, and this is what it looks like today. And I don't know if the people that live there know anything about it, or they seem to be a young couple with kids. And then there's this is the land that the well was on. And like I said, it's been covered over with farm ground, and that's a good thing. But I kind of feel like maybe she got money from her sister's farm. And, some people back in those days didn't want to put their money in a bank. Maybe she was known for carrying a lot of money on her, and someone knew it, and they stole her money and put her in the well. I don't know. They said that she always wore a red sweater and would walk, and people knew her and knew all about her. So I don't know. We'll never know. It's been so long ago that all the people are dead now. And of course, through the years, all kinds of stories have been told about what people think. And here's her grave. It's got a pretty piney bush next to it, a peony bush. And my friend and I put flowers out, and they got taken off. But I'm gonna put more flowers on and make sure she's always remembered. And this is one of her sisters, Rosella. I was reading her obituary. You can go on findagrave.com and read her obituary. And this is the grave of her sister and brother. Her sister Mary is the one that gave her the farm, which might have led to her demise if she was getting money for it. So, like I said, we'll never know, but I just think it would be cool if the local Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts would take over taking care of her grave and learning her story. I think she deserves to be remembered. So that's the story of Leona Disseldorf. It's really sad. So let's perk up and talk about some thrifting. My little vase that I got, I cleaned it all up and put a hollyhock in it. And this plate that I showed you guys a couple months ago, I'd gotten out of the free bin, and I recognized it, but I didn't know from where because I really couldn't remember ever having one of these. Well, I picked up a magazine in my basket the other day and was flipping through it. It was from 2013, and I came across a page, and I thought, well, there's my plate. So I've touched that plate in that magazine before, wishing to get it. And it's not exactly the same pattern, but it's really, really close. And I manifested it. And I'm at Goodwill the other day, and I found this little antique child's chair, and it was so cheap I had to get it, even though I didn't need a child's chair. And then I found this little table that was so sturdy and so cute. And I'd been wanting a bar cart for a long time. And I'm going to put wheels on this one and maybe a handle, and so it'll roll, but it's just beautiful. And the girl that checked me out, she said, oh, you can fix that. You can just paint over that or sand it down. And I said, oh, I'm not going to do anything to it. All I did was come home and clean it. And I love the patina. The red showing through is just beautiful. And then, of course, you know how I went looking for me a tray to put my barware on to take outside on the patio. Well, I found that beautiful tray. It wasn't an old one. It looks old, but it's not. And then not long after that, I found this tray, and it was so cheap, I went ahead and bought it because I thought, well, I'll have 2 trays. I just set them different ways on the cart so that you guys could see different ways you could style it. But there you go, manifesting things. I got my head on an idea that I wanted a tray to put my barware on, and now I'm finding them everywhere. I got these 2 because they were both reasonable, and they were so beautiful, and they look good together. I don't know about the copper tray, if it's copper, if it's gold, I don't know what it is. But it's engraved, and it says India on the back, and it's heavy, and it was I think it was $1.99 maybe. It was so cheap, I just had to get it. And it holds a few glasses. These are a couple of those 25-cent glasses I got at the mission that day. But I manifested those trays, and now I can't quit finding the trays. I'm at Goodwill the other day, and I saw this 16-inch glass tray with gold leaf edging around it that was absolutely beautiful. And it kind of had a wavy pattern. I put a candle holder in the center of it so you could see how big it was. And it was totally flat. It didn't have any lip around the edge. It was so beautiful. And it was cheap. I should have got it. But I thought, well, you don't need 3 or 4 trays for your barware. But it was stunning. And then I showed my niece the picture of it. And she said, oh, I wish you'd have gotten it for me. So I wish I had. But I know when I go back, they won't have it. And here's an ice bucket that was so heavy I couldn't hardly pick it up. It had handles on the side. It was a really nice one, really good quality. But I have an ice bucket and I don't really need one. I'm not a big drinker, but it's nice to have wine every now and then. And I'm just trying to show you guys that if you want some elegant things for your house, if you want some country things for your house, whatever you're looking for, you can hone it down and find it at Goodwill and thrift stores. This vase was gorgeous. It had orange roses on it, but the flowers inside were stuck in there with like plaster of Paris, and I knew they wouldn't come out. And I have a friend who's moving into an apartment, and she told me to be looking for exotic things. She said, I want a real worldly, exotic, kind of African safari-like decor. And every time I turn around, I'm finding something that would go in her apartment. Now, this was wood, and it wasn't real. I didn't think she'd like it. But these two elephants, they were really pretty, and I thought I could paint them to look better. But I didn't get those because I found her some other things, and I'll be showing you those soon. But you get an idea of some kind of theme you want, and you can find the stuff. And you can manifest all of it, I'm telling you. And then I found these hand-painted trays. There were 4 of them, and they were big, and they were really well done. But I didn't need 4 trays, but I wanted to show you guys how pretty they were. They were all the same size, and they were really stunning. And then I thought these were pretty. I love to watch my birds in the morning, and these were 4 perfect mugs with birds on them, and they had the entire set of 4. And I think they might have been $1.99 a piece or 99 cents. Most of their mugs are 99 cents. And then I hate when they do this at Goodwill or any store when they put the real heavy sticky tape on antique dishes. Because when you pull that off, you can pull the paint off of those dishes or the decals. And like I said, if you're manifesting red stuff, you're going to find red. If you're looking for purple, you're going to find purple. This vase was really pretty. And I thought this little silver bowl was pretty. It had a red glass insert. And I thought, oh, for Christmas or Valentine's Day, wouldn't that look pretty with candy or nuts in it? And then these little red candle holders, they were real cheap. And they were real pretty. But I've got red stuff, and I didn't need any more. I did buy this little copper measuring cup because it was cheap. I think it was 99 cents. And I don't have one of those, and I just hung it on a hook in my kitchen. But I'm just showing you how you can manifest your way to whatever kind of decor you want. They had about 6 of these plates, and they had severe smoke damage on them. And I always carry baby wipes with me, and I cleaned one of them up a little bit, but it was going to be a tough job. I think that smoke was really embedded in those plates. And then my mom's lamp, of course. I wasn't looking for this lamp when I found it, but I'm so glad I did because I had lost my mom's. And like I told you before, I think that's my mom's lamp. But look what I found at Goodwill the other day, guys. This lamp is in my head now, and I've never seen one at a thrift store. Now I've seen a green one. The roses on this one were faded a little bit, and it wasn't near as pretty as mine, and it was pretty cheap. I didn't buy it because I'm not going to start buying these lamps unless I find one to make a pair of my mom's. But manifesting. And then Aunt Kathy's kitchen corner here. Got to show these mugs. I know she had these too. Aunt Kathy had all the 70s dishes. And then someone had donated their whole salt and pepper collection. There were some really cute ones. And this was a pretty set. But the creamer was missing. But I didn't want to separate it by just taking the teapot. And then stemmed compotes. This was pressed glass, but I've got a lot of those. And then this is cut crystal. A very heavy bowl. It was really cheap. I should have bought it. But I have so many. My sister-in-law was here the other day, and she said, I think you have enough of that stuff. She said, I think you have enough. And then I'm going to show you these 2 aisles of their glass stuff. They were killing me. I had to look and look and look and get back in the back and make sure I wasn't missing something good. It was so much fun. And, of course, these are cookies from a few months back, but they look patriotic. This is my miniature antique store all decorated up for the 4th of July. I like to put all my little flags out and my Abraham Lincoln picture and my buntings. I want you guys to have a wonderful 4th of July, and I hope you have a safe and happy one and celebrate our independence. And there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world today, but we're still a great place to live, and I think we ought to just be grateful for our freedom and all the things that are good in this country because we have a lot. And again, I'd like to invite you to join me on Instagram at MarcyJoe631. Share with your friends. Like and subscribe, all that. I would really appreciate it. I thank you so much. The Elvis project's coming up. I've been working on it and filming it for you. And I love you guys so much. And I can't wait for the next video to see you again.